Straight ahead at 9, an 18-year-old pleads guilty to stabbing her mother's ex-boyfriend to death. How soon she'll be out of prison. Plus, a local man facing jail time for having 2 wives. The reason, he said, he had no choice. And President Trump closes in on 100 days in office, the executive order he just signed, and what it means for veterans. News 12 at 9 starts right now.
Texoma's #1 rated newscast, broadcasting live from 12 studios. This is News 12 at 9 p.m.
Well, good evening and welcome to News 12 at 9. I'm Dan Thomas. A jury found a Garvin County woman guilty of killing and dismembering her ex-husband. Amber Andrews was convicted of first-degree murder and other charges. In March last year, Andrews was arrested for killing her ex-husband, Brandon Duran. Her boyfriend, Justin Hammer, was also convicted of murder, sentenced to life in prison. Court documents state that Duran's body was dismembered and stuffed into cement-filled buckets. The jury recommended life in prison without parole plus 17 years. Her formal sentencing is set for June. Well, an 18-year-old charged with stabbing her mother's ex-boyfriend to death with a pocket knife pleaded guilty today. The victim's brother spoke exclusively with News 12. Andrew Freeman explains why he wants that teen to get out of jail soon.
It's the worst thing you ever felt. I mean, it's like losing your heart. Your breaths are never the same. Every breath is, it's not like it's all there. A piece of you's dead too.
Patrick Piggy's brother Chivvis was stabbed to death in November.
That was my big brother, and I don't get another brother. That's it, he's gone.
Thursday morning, Madison Martin pleaded guilty to second-degree murder for stabbing him more than 6 times. She got 8 years in prison and 12 years probation.
We want her to still have an opportunity to have a life. I mean, that's more than my brother was given. And so she'll still have time to get out and hopefully build a protective life.
He says the sentence reflects the same compassion his brother exemplified.
His motivations were simply to make people laugh and to make everybody happy. No matter what he was going through in life, homeless, on drugs, anybody that he came in contact with, he made them smile and made them happy.
Chivvis used to date Martin's mother, Lori. Police say in late November, Lori lured Chivvis to her home, where Madison and 2 others attacked, chasing him to the corner of E and 5th Street Northwest, where Madison stabbed him 6 times with a pocket knife.
Multiple families is affected by the loss of one life, so that just shows you how precious a life is.
The 2 others, Keenan Wright and Dalton Wall, pleaded guilty to manslaughter and got 4 years in prison last month. Lori Martin is still to be tried for manslaughter.
We will get through this and we will get stronger, but we will honor my brother's memory in doing so.
In Ardmore, Andrew Freeman, News 12.
And earlier this month, the mother, Lori Martin, pleaded not guilty. She's set to appear for her trial August 7th. Well, staying in Ardmore, a man who says that he shot a 16-year-old to death on accident cut a deal with prosecutors. Connor Lindsay pleaded guilty to manslaughter for shooting 16-year-old Ariana Mosier in the head with a 20-gauge shotgun. Lindsay got 10 years in prison and 10 years probation. Police say a group of friends were hanging out at an Ardmore apartment complex last August when Lindsay pulled out the shotgun. Police say he was under the influence of marijuana and a prescription drug called Adderall.
Even though it was not intentional and it was really more an issue of negligence, it was extremely reckless. And someone is dead. You know, somebody's had to bury a daughter over this.
Well, Lindsay will have to serve at least 8.5 years before he's eligible for parole. Well, an Ardmore man admitted today to breaking into a home and sexually assaulting a 12-year-old girl. 29-year-old Simon Molina Santana pleaded guilty to first-degree burglary and lewd or indecent acts to a child under 16. Santana was arrested in May last year after police say he broke into a home, assaulted the girl, and then tried to take her away. One of the girl's siblings ran for help, scared him away. Police say that Santana pretended to be a 13-year-old boy on Facebook, became friends with her, got her home address. He was sentenced to 15 years in prison. Well, a Sherman man's now charged with a crime after police found out that he had 2 wives. Officers say that Carrie Miller married Shirley Daniels in 2003 in Rockwall County. Well, that couple separated when Miller went to prison for obtaining valuables while impersonating an officer in 2008 in California. Well, when Miller got out, he moved back to Sherman and married Valencia Fletcher in 2015. Well, Fletcher found out that Miller never divorced his first wife in November, and that's when she filed a police report. Miller was arrested for bigamy and booked into jail in March.
The law does require that you're only married to one person at a time, and so there is criminal penalties for being married to more than one person at a time.
Prosecutors say that Miller told them he did not get a divorce because he couldn't afford it. Bigamy is a third-degree felony. Well, an arrest has been made in that bomb threat scare that turned out to be a hoax in Lamar County. Jacob Weathers turned himself in this morning for making that hoax bomb found Tuesday afternoon in a Deport home. The sheriff's investigators say that Weathers was the last tenant to rent that house before he was evicted. Something that sure looked like a bomb was found while that home was being cleaned. People were evacuated. The Plano Bomb Squad called in along with federal agents, and they determined it was a fake. All right, time to look at tonight's weather. Topsy-turvy temperatures continuing out there. Beautiful day today, though. Chief Meteorologist Steve Lenore joins us in the Weather Center. Steve, what can we expect overnight?
Well, last night this time, Dan, it was chilly. Temperatures were in the 40s to around 50, but tonight, once again, we've seen a big swing in temperatures. We're in the 60s at this hour, about 15 degrees warmer than last night. We've got a steady wind from the southeast, and that's going to be helping to keep it quite warm overnight. Winds running about 10 to 15 miles per hour. They'll tend to pick up late tonight. Now, southerly wind flow feeding into a developing storm means heavy rain. So the National Weather Service has posted a flood watch for the dark green counties of northern Texoma and a flash flood watch for Pushpatala County. This kicks in tomorrow night and goes through Sunday. 3 to 5 inches of rain may fall in parts of the area, Dan, and we still have, of course, a threat for severe weather tomorrow. I'm going to talk about the cap and how that factors into this severe weather when I return.
All right, more about the cap. Can't wait. Thanks, Steve. Well, the clock is ticking toward a possible shutdown of the federal government. Could happen the same day that President Trump marks his 100th day in office. Weijia Zhang has the latest from the White House.
President Trump traveled to the Department of Veterans Affairs Thursday afternoon to sign an executive order to establish an Office of Accountability and Whistleblower Protection.
Those who fail our veterans will be held for the first time accountable.
One of the president's top campaign pledges was to take care of veterans. The VA has a troubled history. In 2014, the FBI launched an investigation after complaints of corruption and reports that veterans had to wait weeks, even months, for appointments. Some died waiting for treatment. The executive order is one of 32 the president will have signed by the time he reaches the milestone of 100 days in Michael Flynn's possible role.
There's a very extreme emphasis placed on these 100 days.
The president's 100th day in office is Saturday, the same day a partial government shutdown could take effect unless Congress passes an emergency spending bill. The president blamed Democrats with the morning tweet storm.
We are never going to shut government down. In fact, we don't even have the power to do so.
Lawmakers will vote Friday on a short-term extension, buying more time to work out a long-term deal that both parties can approve. Weijia Zhang, CBS News, the White House.
And the president agreed to renegotiate the terms of NAFTA following conversations with Canada's prime minister and Mexico's president. As a candidate, you may remember the president promised to fix or terminate that agreement. Well, United Airlines reaches an amicable settlement with the passenger. You remember this one, dragged off the flight. The new policies